All right, welcome back to another episode of the Buckskin Voice.
Hello, hello.
So if you have not tuned in before, I am Eric Tietze. I'm the technology director and also a computer teacher here at the school.
I'm Aaliyah Bench. I'm the community outreach specialist here, and that has many hats that come with it.
Yeah. It's one of the joys of working at a small school is every job has
Everyone
a
does
lot of
a million
different things.
Yeah.
There's no one thing that anybody gets to do. So.
Yeah. We had a new sub in today, and Mrs. Jones introduced her, and she was like, to me, and she said, she's a jack of all trades. And I was like, I don't know that I'm necessarily a jack of all trades. I just get thrown into things. Yeah. Figure it out.
I'm just a sucker sometimes.
Yeah. I can't
agree to do stuff I don't want to do. Yeah, that's kind of how it goes. So,
yeah.
But we are, back in school.
We are.
Back in the swing of things. And today, on the day we're recording this, we got to start the day out with no power.
Yeah. So. That was exciting. It was a good, probably 30 minutes after the bells rang this morning that we didn't have power.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. But I have to say, our teachers and our students handled that so well. I was anticipating that there was going to be some little kids who were panicking and like, what do we do? Because, we're only in the third week of school now. Right. So a lot of those little ones still don't know what to do.
Yeah, they're still panicking just to walk in the door.
Yeah, exactly. But they did so good. So I was super proud of the way they handled that.
Yeah, it was I think it went really well.
Yeah.
I think it's like anything else. I'm sure we're going to talk about it and see what we could do better. But I think overall it went pretty well for an unexpected event.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny. I thought this morning when all that was happening, we just had our first fire drill yesterday.
Yes.
And I thought, isn't it funny that we just had this first fire drill and now the kids are, it's not the same thing, but they still had to kind of adapt and move on.
Different than what we had planned.
Yes. So. Yeah.
But we are definitely back in the full swing of school.
Yes.
Had our first character assembly today.
Yeah.
So that's always a lot of fun to watch.
I missed those. Kids. I was super bummed. I had a Zoom call that I needed to be on, and so I missed the morning. So I'm hoping I get to make it to the afternoon one today.
Yeah. This summer we had some big changes on a few different things. One of the big things we did was that we put interactive TVs in all of our pre-K through fourth grade now they have the new line 65-inch.
They're so nice.
They're really, really nice.
Yeah.
They're fantastic. And we got a great deal on a few off-brand ones that we have bought temporarily just for 5th and 6th grade.
Yeah.
Because they were so cheap, we just couldn't pass them up.
Yeah.
And they're not the ones we want in there for good, but it
gets them used to
something.
It gets them used to the technology and gives them the ability to try it out.
I've told our admin team I'm really looking forward to seeing what the teachers do with that.
Yeah.
By middle of the year, it'll be really interesting to see what they're doing with those devices.
Yeah, and some of them are already doing really incredible things with it. I was thinking actually yesterday because I was building our display for the lobby, and if you haven't seen that, we have a display in our lobby, and we put important information up there. We have a monthly calendar that goes up. We put all the stuff. Well, this year I'm integrating into that some of those portrait of a buckskin traits that we're talking about in our character assemblies and all of that. And I was thinking yesterday about how Mrs. Hedges, who's new to our district this year, created that whole slideshow that talks about what is the character trait, how do you apply it to real life, and I just thought, man, that's amazing.
Yeah, and then she pushed that out to all the other teachers so that way everybody could use it together.
Everyone could use it. Yeah, it was great.
Another big change. Well, one of the things with the interactive TVs that we did yesterday, it was kind of a last minute. Like literally they were getting ready to announce fire drill. And I said, let me try something. And we pushed a fire drill screen to all of the TVs at the same time.
Yeah. I saw the email from Mrs. Joyner about that. That's super cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's something that's, I'm sure we'll be utilizing more, probably not extensively for those types of things, but it'll be really nice because we can push out announcements to it in the mornings and different things like that as we start getting those in the rest of our rooms.
They've wanted for several years to kind of update that morning announcement process.
Yeah.
Right now we do those on our intercom to all the classrooms. Well, we have a dated intercom system, and so some of the classrooms don't always get to hear that, or maybe it cuts out, or sometimes our administration is busy. Like today when we had no power, well then when it came back on, they're trying to run around and get everything sorted and settled. Yep. And we still had to do morning announcements and do the pledge and all of those things. And so it would be really nice to be able to do that on the display, even like do it the day before or something, and then push it out to everyone. So I'm excited to see what that is.
A lot of cool things. And then the teachers got all new devices over the summer, or right at the end of the year. So they got all Chromebook Plus 2-in-1s. They're look like a laptop, but they fold around into a tablet and they're touch screen, and they fully integrate with their new TVs. And so there's a lot of really cool things going on.
Yeah. And so for like the average person who doesn't know, I'm sure there's lots of questions hearing all of that. How did our district pay for those things? And then why is that important to our teachers to have those things?
So the idea of it was, what we talked about was, we wanted to figure out a way to free our teachers from their desk.
Yeah.
So we don't want the teachers sitting at their desk during the entire class period.
Right.
We want them up interacting with the students.
Right.
When you're dealing with a desktop computer, however,
you can't do that.
Can't really do
Yeah,
it because most of their stuff is on that. They were still using projectors, so their lesson screens were on there and everything else. And now with these devices, they can actually get up and walk around the room with it in their hand. They can interact with the kids. They can let the kids interact with that.
Yeah.
Mrs. Cook actually found a really cool device. It's like a miniature keyboard with a little trackpad on it.
I saw her email about
$10 or
that.
$12.
Yeah.
Really super inexpensive. And I know a lot of the teachers have purchased those to go with their new TVs as well. So it's really freed up a lot of that stuff. And we paid for it, honestly, by cutting a lot of expenses in other places.
Yeah.
We had, if you come to any of the board meetings, the budget meeting last year at the end of the year, where they kind of did final look at the budget, there's a couple line items that I've cut a significant amount of money out of.
In other areas of technology.
Yeah, in other technology areas. Not, we haven't cut funding from music or anything like that. But what I've done is, there's a lot of things that we used to pay people to do that I've pulled in-house.
That you can do
that's
yourself. Yeah.
allowed me to spend that money in other areas.
Yeah, which is important because we've talked about this before. We live in a technology-based world. So our students have to learn how to do those things. So technology, whether we like it or not, is super important to our daily educational process. And they have to learn how to do those things.
And it's so cool to watch the kids interact with it and to see what the teachers are doing, because it's going to be impressive.
It's really exciting. I'm excited to see it. I've walked by classrooms and just kind of observed through the window and seen teachers using those devices and walking around the room. And the other day I went by one of our middle school rooms and just kind of stopped and watched through the window, and the teacher was walking through the class, through the kids, and she was changing the stuff on the screen at the same time. And I was like, that's so amazing.
Yeah, it's cool.
Stay with the flow,
One of the other big changes, too, that the public will notice is when you come in, the big class photos that used to be hanging up on the wall, those are not there any longer.
Nope.
The trophy case is not there any longer. That whole area has been completely revamped.
Yes.
So what we did was we put in a few floating shelves on the wall, and they've got trophies on those, like more recent trophies.
Yeah.
So that way we do still have all that up there. We've got some really cool little sound pads and stuff that look really nice. And we've put in a big interactive TV that we had in one of our rooms that was an older one. It didn't do what the other TVs do.
Right.
It's basically just a giant touchscreen. The other ones they're a computer hanging on the wall. But we had that one that we had replaced, so we moved it over there, and we've got a slideshow now. So when the kids are walking through, the younger kids are seeing slides and videos and things of what the older kids have been doing. To kind of get them excited about school. And the other thing is that when you come in as the general public, you can walk up and actually touch that screen. And when you do, it's going to activate a screen where you can click on the class photos.
To see the big class composites.
All of those composites we still have. They're just digitized now.
Yeah.
And you can flip through them right there. It's a work in progress.
Yeah.
But we're still going to have more information going into that. We're kind of making that an information center for public.
And that's so important because just thinking of the class composites and like the murals that we have throughout our building, it's really hard to preserve those things as time goes on. And the issue that we ran into with the class composites is we ran out of space.
Yes.
We couldn't add anything else to that. And so this gives us a way to have those for years and years, and they're preserved. People can see them. And I know I've seen parents come in here at events and they're flipping through that with their kids, or grandparents flipping through that. And like, there's me,
And that's the thing. We don't want to lose that.
Right.
But we have to figure out a way to preserve it in a way that we can continue to have it.
Yeah.
It is a lot like the murals. There's a lot of those murals, if you walk through, that are
chipped,
they're dirty. They're getting where they don't look good. And
that's a project for this year that we're focusing on, is getting those preserved digitally also.
Yeah. And
so that parents and the community can still enjoy them.
Yeah, and the other nice thing is it's going to allow us to put those into our website as well. So you don't necessarily have to be in the building to look at the class composites or the artwork. You can actually go online and pull it up and look through it. And
that's neat. So if grandma lives in California, we can send her, mom and dad can send the kids the link to the website with that year's class mural, and grandma and grandpa can see it too.
Yes.
So that's pretty cool.
It's going to be fun. So.
Yeah, that's exciting.
So we've had several big changes. I know you've got some events coming up.
We do. So next month in October, when this comes out, we'll be almost to October. And so coming up in October, we have on the 9th, our Board of Education meeting at 6 p.m. in the cafeteria. And I'm not sure, do you know if that's being moved permanently to the old cafeteria space or?
I don't know if that decision has been made yet. I know there's been some discussion about it. I know myself, I like it in the old space because I think it's a much more
intimate space.
Intimate, yeah. I mean, I almost hate to use that word, but it really is. It's much
it's quieter.
You get to be more involved and feel like you're part of it if you're in the audience. Yeah. Whereas in the other cafeteria, it's just so big and open. It's hard to hear. You feel like you're a long ways away.
The projection also of what's going on.
Yeah. So we're working on some things for that.
Yeah. So stay tuned to our social media accounts. We'll be announcing each month where those meetings are going to be held so that you guys know that. We also have on the 1st, I skipped over this, our volunteer training is coming up. And we're going to talk a little bit about that in a minute, about what that entails, who needs to take it, all of that kind of stuff. But that'll be on October 1st at 12:15. And then we have on the 18th, our wellness team is hosting a Boo Bash. And we talked about this morning. It is going to be so exciting. Kids and families are going to get to come. They're going to get to dress up. We're going to have costume contests throughout the dance. We've got to talk to our local DJ to see if he's available to DJ our dance for us. We don't know yet. We'll figure it out some way. But then we have parent-teacher conferences on the 23rd and 24th. And information will be coming home with kiddos about that soon. And then our fall parties will be on the 30th at 2:30, and also information will be coming home about that more in the future also. So be paying attention for all of that stuff on social media. Check your kids' binders and folders because there's a lot of stuff happening in October.
Yeah, and if they're like my kids were, they will not ever tell you.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to figure it out on your own because I've missed some pretty important things before because my son didn't tell me it was happening until his teacher would call and go, by the way, he got this huge award that only 2 kids got. And I didn't know anything about it.
We had that happen last year with my daughter. It was the day of, and her teacher messaged me and asked if I was coming to an event. And I was like, I knew nothing about that, but yes, I will be there.
Yeah, that's how it tends to go. So, but yeah, so it's been exciting. We've had some good stuff happen.
Yeah,
and
we have.
And you'll notice we've got a 3rd microphone set up here. We've got a guest that will be joining us.
That's something else new this year that we're going to talk about.
Yeah, it's another big exciting thing for our students. I was really glad to see this come.
Yeah, me too.
We will talk about that here in a little bit.
Yeah, we're so excited.
That's going to be a fun thing.
Okay, let's touch on volunteer training real quick. Okay. So this is kind of a confusing process for people who have not been in our district before, and even people who have been. So we offer volunteer training, and that is a whole process. The reason that we do that is because we want parents and grandparents in our building as much as possible. Right. We want people here. We want people to experience what we're experiencing every day. Help our teachers. They always need help with stuff. But we have to have a process for that to keep everyone safe. So to be a volunteer in our district, you have to complete a background check with the Family Safety Care Registry. Which can be found on our website. If you go to the Parents tab and then Get Involved, there's a link for volunteering, and the link for that background check will be on there. It's $15 the first time you do it, but after that, every year when you renew it, it's free. So you never have to pay for it again. Then you also have to complete the volunteer application, which is linked on that page. And that is just so we know who you are, where you're at. Whenever we do volunteer celebrations, we want your information so that we can invite you to that. So that is on that page. And then the last thing that you have to do is volunteer training. This covers us because there are a lot of important topics that we have to talk about for insurance. We have to make sure volunteers know what their responsibilities are and are not. We go through the same training with our teachers at the beginning of the year in PD week, so everyone's on the same page. But that all has to be completed before you can volunteer in the building. This includes parents who want to be room parents for parties. If you are just coming as a parent to come to a party, to see your kid in their party. You do not have to do the background check and all of that stuff for volunteering. But you do if you're planning the party, if you're going to be helping with it, leading games, anything like that. You have to complete all of those things. And again, that's just because we want people to be safe.
Yeah.
And we want to know that we can assure every parent in our district that the people who are in the room with their children are safe and they have been vetted and we know who they are and there aren't going to be any issues popping up.
Because, of course, we want, like you said, we do want parents and grandparents in the building. We want them interacting with the kids. It makes for a better learning environment. However, priority number one is going to be safety.
Absolutely.
And that's the top priority. Yeah. So, you mentioned one thing there, and it was kind of funny because I had somebody ask me the other day, I said something about PD week.
Yeah.
And I said, we had PD day. We're doing this. And they're like, what is PD? And I'm like, I'm like, oh yeah, I forget. People don't know what those things are.
They don't know our acronyms.
So PD is professional development. Yeah. And at the beginning of the year, we have at least a week, sometimes a little longer, that the teachers are here putting in quite a few hours every day.
All
learning
staff, not
new
just
skills.
Teachers, all staff.
All staff.
Yeah.
All staff. Learning new skills.
Yep.
Learning better ways to teach. Learning important things that have changed and transitions and different things like that.
Going over all that legal stuff that nobody wants to sit through, but we have to do it anyway.
We continue to have those. We continue to have those throughout the year.
Every month we have a PD day almost. I think there's only a couple months where we don't have PD for our staff.
Yeah. So if you hear PD or you see PD day on the calendar,
it's professional development.
That is the day that we are working to be better.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what our staff is doing on those days.
I love PD. I'm a lifelong student. I would be a student for my whole entire life if I could. I understand not everyone is like that, but I am that way. So I love PD days because there's always something exciting to talk about on those days.
Yeah. So
learn a lot of stuff. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well,
we are going to end the intro portion here, and we will be back shortly with our guest and talk to you about some of the new exciting things our kids have coming up.
Yep.
So
super excited.
See you in a minute. Okay, so we are back. We have Miss Julie Carr with us, and we're going to kind of go over some of this stuff a second time because once again, I forgot to press record this time. Last time it was Aaliyah. The last 3 times was her, so this time I messed it up. I'll take full responsibility. It's bad though. I wish this had happened last week because I came in and talked with your class about failure, and this would have been a perfect opportunity to talk about that. So.
Well, I can just bring it up.
You can share that with them.
Absolutely.
So, Miss Carr has got to do some exciting new things now. We've got a whole new program coming for the kids. We have a gifted program now that she is in charge of, and she's going to kind of talk with us a little bit about what that entails and how it works and all the fun, exciting things that she's seeing happen with that.
Yeah, and you have another new class for our district too, not just gifted.
Spanish.
Yeah, that's so exciting. I heard your kids out in the cafeteria the other day counting and saying the alphabet, and I just loved it. It was so fun.
I have a very firm set of students that really are into the Spanish alphabet song.
Yeah.
And they'll sing it in other classes, and word on the street I'm hearing is that my kids talk about it in other classes. So
that's exciting.
That's awesome.
That's so good. That's the true test of a good class.
Yes.
Yeah. When they're telling their other teachers, this is not nearly as much fun as that class.
Yeah. So this year you're offering gifted education to our students. If you don't know, if you're not in the world of education and you don't know all of those things, the state of Missouri mandated that every school district has to offer gifted education for their students. Mm-hmm. And in the past, we have needed that program, but not been able to because we haven't had enough staff. Our administration worked hard. You worked hard. You had to take additional classes and get a new certification, correct?
I had to get a complete and total new master's degree.
That's what I thought.
I got it smushed in 2.5 years.
Wow. She worked very hard to get that done. And so we're able to offer that this year, and it's so exciting. Yeah. So how many times a week are you offering gifted?
We are currently doing 3 times a week for 3 hours. I will take 5th and 6th graders on Mondays from about 7:45 to about 10:45. On Tuesdays, I take 7th graders, and Wednesdays, I take 8th graders.
That's exciting. And so you're still kind of dealing with the same group of kids, but in the future, you're going to expand that to the whole district. So you came from the middle school, junior high world.
Yes.
And now you're going to be stepping into a new role. Is that terrifying to you or exciting or both?
This year is kind of a a transition year for me because we are only doing 5th through 8th grade. I came from 7th and 8th grade. So the older kids I work really well with already. I'm kind of dipping my toes in with the slightly younger ones right now. And I feel like it's going okay.
Ease yourself into it.
But we do plan on in future years implementing all the way down to kindergarten.
Yeah.
So,
so
that'll
exciting.
be the true test. And luckily I have a son that is like kindergarten age, so I'm somewhat familiar with working with small kids.
Yeah, that's so exciting.
Yeah, the gifted program is a great thing for the students because I was saying last time when we didn't record that a lot of times what you find out is some of your students that are getting in trouble a lot of times, it's not because they're necessarily a bad kid or something. They're just bored and they're very intelligent. And I've seen that with a few of our students, and there's a few in your class that I see that I'm like, yep, they're one that I said. There's one in particular that I've said, I love that kid because he's me. I was in the principal's office every single day up until like 8th grade, and a lot of it was because I was just bored. And once we got the gifted program, that helped out tremendously because it gave me something to do. And because frankly, a lot of it was, I would go to math class, we'd go to pre-algebra or algebra or something, and I was just like, I don't need to listen to you for 20 minutes. I can read this in 2 minutes and know how to do it. So just tell me the homework and let me go work. And tell everybody else how to do it. I don't need that. And that's the great thing about the gifted program, though. Yes,
because I will say I started working a logic puzzle with my classes this week, and I worked like the first 2 clues out with them. And then one of the kids raised their hand and they're like, Miss Carr, I don't want to sound rude, but can you just let us do it now? I'm like, okay, yeah, go for it. Go for it. And they were all successful. And I was really just pleased to hear during this process, they're like, Miss Carr, I'm actually having to think. I'm like,
good. Yeah. I love seeing your classes out and about. Yeah. I saw, was it yesterday that you guys were out with the big pieces of paper in the hallway drawing? Or
that was for my Spanish class. Oh, okay. But we did something with large pieces of paper in my gifted class as well, where I set a timer for 5 minutes and I said, hey kids, make 11. And that's all I said. And so the kids just kind of stared at me, and then you could see their gears turning, and then they all grabbed a marker and just came up with tons of ways. My 8th graders, there were only 2 of them this week, and they came up with about 50 ways in 5 minutes to make the number 11.
That's cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's so fun. I am not in the gifted world. If anyone knows me, they won't be surprised by that. But my son was in the gifted world, and he did the enrichment program in kindergarten and 1st grade. And then in 4th grade, he got into the gifted program, and it was such a game changer for him. Yeah. He totally came out of his shell. You know the difference in him from before he did it. He was always this shy. I tell everyone he's just my weird kid. And I love that about him. I love that he's just kind of awkward and weird. And but that was a game changer for him. And I can see in some of our kids already, some of them that I've walked by your class and seen, they're already kind of starting to find their way. And
yeah, it's kind of a place where weird meets weird. We've got our own home. We found our own people. I was also formerly gifted, so I can kind of, tell the kids my stories, and they're like, you too? Yeah. And they start talking amongst each other, because a lot of times these kids come from different friend groups. Yeah. And then they find out how similar they are. Yeah. And I'm already seeing just 2 weeks in, immense bonding between some of my classes.
Yeah. Well, and that's the great thing, because it is it's a smaller group, so they're a little more tight knit. You have a longer time period. Yeah. So they're getting to do things that they normally wouldn't get to do. And you have so much freedom with the gifted program of what to do. Like, you don't have this set curriculum. Like, we have to do this. Like, you really get to pick out a lot of your own things, right? And
yeah, I do have standards I have to follow. There are a set of Missouri gifted standards, but they're pretty vague, like, hey, teach the kids creativity, teach the kids some critical thinking strategies. And, creativity can be, literally anything.
Right.
So you are right. It is very open-ended.
Yeah.
It's kind of awesome. Your baby and you're building it. And that's really exciting and fun to kind of be there and make it your own. You don't have anyone else that's like, oh, you can't do that, or I'm going to be upset if you do that, because it's yours. It's your program.
Exactly. And I've been to conferences, and there's been so many amazing things these other gifted teachers have shown me. These people are very collaborative. They're willing to share everything. It's a great network. And if I want to do a lesson about fish, I could probably just send out an email and be like, oh, guys, what do you have on
what
fish?
What do you have? Yeah.
And so I can take that and run with that and make it my own. And it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
And a lot of people don't realize that gifted education falls under the special education program and like umbrella, because those students do need special services that are not offered in a regular education classroom.
Yeah.
Yep. They're like the gifted brain it's just built a little bit differently, and it just needs to be stimulated a little bit differently.
Yeah.
I'm glad these kids have this opportunity now.
Me too. I love it.
And it's not unusual either to see a lot of other things that you would think traditional, like special education, that do fall into gifted. I don't know if you've seen the show on Netflix, The Love on the Spectrum, but we watched it,
favorite.
and I was very hesitant to watch it because I thought it was going to be exploitative, honestly, and my wife kind of started watching it, and it wasn't. It was very well done. Yeah. But it was funny because as we're watching it, every now and then she would just kind of like slowly turn and look at me, and she's like, "This is what it's like to live with you." And and I've seen over the years, my son also was in the gifted program, and I see that with him, and I'm like, okay, yeah, you're on the spectrum, bud. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
I kind of feel like everyone is like a dab on the spectrum somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
I feel like we all live there somewhere. That's why it's the spectrum.
Some of us might be a little more on it than others.
Well, it's just really funny because a lot of my gifted kids, especially my 8th grader class this year, they're always like, algebra? Autism. And I'm like, oh, come on, guys. But they take what they are, they're taking this and they're making the best of it. And it's amazing.
I love that. What I always loved about when my son did the gifted program, and I've kind of already seen this a little bit in just what I've seen your class out in the hallways, is that it incorporates so much of all the other areas of learning. Like he was, when he did it, they put on a Renaissance fair. Well, that has the theater side of things, and they would do art projects, and it just encompasses so much that I think people don't understand how much as a teacher you have to think outside of the box to be able to teach these kids, because even though you are a former gifted student yourself, you still have to think outside of the box to meet all of these kids where they're at, and they're all in very different places.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
And they're just, we're solving real life problems right now. Yeah. The staff members have assigned each of my groups a real life problem to fix. And
I love that.
The kids are coming up with things I would have never thought of. They're like, Mrs. Carr, we need PVC pipe. I'm like, where are we going to get PVC pipe? And they're like, I don't know. I'm like, well, you guys figured that out. And they're like,
that's part of your problem.
Children, where are we going to get the money for this PVC pipe?
Yeah. So if you're watching and you have PVC pipe, we could use some donations.
But it's just awesome. And then at the end of the year, I plan on having a big problem-based learning unit where the kids perceive a problem in our school district
and figure out how to solve it.
They figure out how to solve it. So I'm leaving it very open-ended. If they want to make like a school garden, awesome. If they come up with some other thing, that's great. I'm going to try to support them in any way that they can while mentoring them, but letting them also do all of the real life aspects.
Yeah.
And I love that because as adults, we can look at the district and see all of these problems, but I'm sorry, that didn't interrupt that. We can look at our school district and see problems, but then whenever kids look at the school district and they see problems, it's going to be totally different from their eyes.
And the solutions are going to be vastly different.
Yes. Yeah.
Because realistically, most of the time when adults see the problem, we want to throw money at it,
right?
And go, well, we need more funding for this, or we need this money, or that we need, and the kids a lot of times they don't think like that, so they're going to look at a way to solve it that may not require any money at all, and it may be as simple as making one tiny little tweak in how you do something, and it makes a huge difference in how that goes.
Yeah.
And one of the things that you guys did, which I'm going to commend you a little bit on what I've got to see, is I do see some really cool things that you're already doing. Like we're just getting started, and you guys did the failure fair, which I loved, because that's one of the things that as a gifted student, you're not used to failing.
Yeah,
no.
Like gifted students don't fail.
They don't know how to fail,
and when they do, it is tragic. Like you just don't understand it, and because you've never had to deal with it before.
It hurts your soul, like, honestly.
Yeah. And it's one of the things that, I struggled with. I'm sure you probably struggled with as well. And a lot of the students struggle with, and you allowed some of us staff members to come in and talk to the kids and go, hey, look, here's where I failed at. Here's an example of a failure that I did. Here's how we overcame it. And I'm still here.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't end my world. Everything's okay.
Yeah. I love that. And I love that your kids are getting at such a young age to experience that. We did the failure fair with our staff last year at PD, our admin team did. And I love that because even as adults, it's hard to admit your failures because you feel like if I'm admitting my failures, then I mean, it's a very vulnerable place to be in.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I actually took my inspiration from what you guys did last year. I thought that was really commendable, and I thought it helped the staff open up with each other. And I'm like, hey, I can do this with my kids because I asked the kids the first week, hey, what are some things you want to work on? And a lot of them said, hey, I'm not confident. I'm afraid to fail. And I'm like, that's natural. So let's try to work that. And so the failure fair is just a first step to show that everybody's vulnerable.
I loved when our administrators gave that example to our staff and let us kind of work through that. It was so fun.
Well, and we're in a society that really acts like failure is a bad thing.
Right.
And failure is, you're not getting better if you're not failing.
Right. So if you don't fail, you don't have any opportunity for growth because
you're not doing anything.
Something new. Yeah.
Yeah. Whenever you came to my class, you said something really strong about how you don't fail if you don't try something new.
Yeah.
So you can go through life never failing, but you're just going to be doing the same things over and over again and never becoming better. Yeah. And like the kids and I had a pretty nice discussion about that afterwards.
Good.
Actually.
Love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. Well, I'm excited to see what you do with all of your new classes this year. And
me too.
You're seeing your Spanish class in the cafeteria of doing their alphabet really sparked me. And I all day long was thinking, do I still know how to do that? And I can still say the Spanish alphabet from high school. And that was a long time ago.
Well, I actually figured out since I was in high school, and I think we're about the same age, they took out 3 letters.
They did. So. Yeah, they did.
It was mind blown.
Yeah, they sure did. Well, I'm excited to see what you guys are doing and how you're going to really kind of grow that program. I think it's exciting, and I can't wait to be able to showcase what your kids are doing. And
well, I am taking lots of pictures,
I
will share those with you.
I love it.
Yes.
I love it. Yeah.
All right. Well, if you, if you guys have an idea, I'm sure you're open to ideas as well from parents, correct?
Absolutely. Like anything you find problematic, small things that you wouldn't mind like a 14-year-old working on, shoot it my way because when I gave these problems to these kids, they were excited. They hopped right into it and they were like, wow. And it's what they're going to do in real life. Yeah. So that's awesome.
And it does build so much confidence in them to be able to come up with solutions to a problem that the adults are struggling with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love when I see a new email come through from you about what you're doing with your gifted kids and what you need from the staff. I love it. I love that you're involving the entire district in your process with your classes. I think that's so fun. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah,
thank you for having me.
So, sorry we had to record it twice, but
hey, that is all right with me.
Sometimes we fail.
It happens.
We totally do.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll see you guys on the next episode.
Bye.